hate me, don't you?
Tune in to Kons Podcast.
Kons Podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe and share.
Pastor was charged with manslaughter after a man drowned while she was baptizing him. Producer man dropped some new stuff on this David case. You know what I mean? This case is surprisingly still ongoing. You know what I mean? World singing on shows, making hundreds of thousands of dollars while he's being currently investigated for a whole murder of a little young girl. Diddy is trying to appeal and get out of the jail. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to appeal and send his sentence. Yeah, what's going on? What's happening on this good Monday? You know what I mean? April 13th, 2:45 in the afternoon. You know what I'm saying? It's Kons Podcast, episode 378. You know what I mean? Episode 378. Got a few little topics for y'all today. You know what I mean? Just a few little topics. Just three cool little topics. You know what I mean? Definitely gonna touch on a pastor. How a pastor was charged drowning a man while baptizing him. We also gonna touch on some more info on this David case. Kadisha Lamb dropped a video letting you know a little bit more info on that. And also Diddy is looking to appeal his sentence, trying to get out of jail. You know what I'm saying? Said he felt like the sentencing was too harsh. You know what I mean? We're gonna get into that. TMZ touched on that. Kadisha Lamb put a clip out on that as well. I'm gonna get into all them clips as well on that Diddy situation. You know what I'm saying? But episode 378 though today, you know what I mean? On this good Monday, kicking y'all week off. Hope y'all doing cool. Hope y'all week is starting off great. You know what I mean? On this good Monday kickoff start of the week. You know what I mean? This your first time here. This is where we go over the news, go over headlines that you might have seen whenever you logged onto your computer, whatever your homepage is, whether it's Yahoo News, MSNBC News, CNN News, Hip Hop DX, wherever it is that you might have seen a couple of headlines. I'm probably touching on one or two or three of them right here on Kons Podcast. You know what I mean? So tell your friends about it, share it out, and let me keep you updated on this wicked world. You know what I mean? But episode 378, you know what I mean? We're going to be going over the topics I just told you about. You know what I'm saying? So without no more further ado, no more chit-chat, banter. You know what I mean? Let's jump right into these topics. You know what I'm saying? So out in the UK, we're going to start off across the pond. You know what I mean? A pastor was charged with manslaughter after a man drowned while she was baptizing him. He was a 16-year-old man. This was in a little kiddie pool in the backyard of a home in Birmingham in UK. All this was on live stream and it cut off when the man drowning. The woman named Cheryl Barkley is part of a website and has a ministry called Life Changes Ministries. You know what I'm saying? She was live streaming when this happened. You know what I mean? The man was already baptized and he had put in a request to get rebaptized. You know what I mean? That's to be on some reborn, new born again type energy. You know what I mean? Type ceremony. You know what I'm saying? She was the minister. The Life Changes Ministries was live streaming when it happened and it cut off once the man started drowning. Paramedics and all this came to the house to try to rescue, but the man was pronounced dead on the scene from drowning. You know what I mean? The next little clips that you're going to see is just a little more clips talking about this. Netizens who spoke on this as well. Check it out.
I want y'all to imagine you're getting baptized and a little while later you see Jesus while you're getting baptized. Why, you ask? Because you drowned from the dang baptism. Yes, that allegedly happened. You heard that correctly. Can you freaking imagine? So a pastor drowned a man while she was baptizing him. A pastor has been charged with manslaughter after a grandfather of 7 drowned during his home baptism. She also reportedly later posted a video and said she saw him dancing with Jesus. I bet she did. So this is 48-year-old Cheryl Barley from the UK, and she was reportedly live streaming a ceremony back in October of 2023, and that was for the baptism of 61-year-old Robert Smith. He reportedly had Parkinson's disease, and he was described as a born-again believer. She was live streaming on Facebook on her Life Changing Ministries page. It was said the live stream suddenly cut out, though, as Robert was being baptized in a kids' paddling pool in a home in Birmingham. According to reports, emergency services were indeed called, but Robert was already dead when they got there. A post-mortem examination revealed he did indeed die from drowning. Can you imagine? During a freaking baptism, y'all. West Midlands Police announced the charges against Cheryl, the pastor, yesterday on Wednesday, April 8th. According to reports, Cheryl later recorded a video about the death and said she saw Robert dancing in heaven with Jesus. Yeah, okay. She has now reportedly been charged with gross negligence manslaughter, which is an offense that carries a sentence ranging between 1 and 18 years on average in prison in the United Kingdom. She is now set to appear in a magistrate's court in Birmingham on May 14th, so in a little over a month. Reportedly, Robert was originally from Jamaica, but he had been living in the UK for 25 years. It was said he was a barber in London. He had already been baptized in the past, but he wanted the new ceremony to become a born-again believer. This is just about the craziest thing I believe I've ever heard. I can't help but wonder if this pastor killed this man on purpose. Like, why hold him under the water that long? You know he was struggling. What the heck was she doing? Reading the word, talking about Jesus? I don't get it. Unbelievable. Y'all let me know your thoughts. For more content, be sure to follow and subscribe on
Hear about the pastor in the UK who is being charged with manslaughter after a man drowned while she was baptizing him. 48-year-old pastor Cheryl Bartley was baptizing a 61-year-old man named Robert Smith in a kiddie pool in the backyard of a private home in Birmingham, UK. She was also live streaming the entire ceremony on her Facebook page when all of a sudden the live stream cut off. The next thing you know, emergency services arrived at the home because the grandfather of 7 had stopped breathing. But by the time they arrived, he was already deceased. A physical exam revealed his cause of death was drowning. Pastor Cheryl later recorded a video assuring her church members that she saw Robert dancing with Jesus, but the police didn't want to hear that. They arrested the pastor, charging her with gross negligence manslaughter after they collected enough evidence to prove that she did not do everything she could to keep him safe during the ceremony. Pastor Cheryl now faces up to 18 years in prison. Robert's family said that he was already a Christian, but he wanted another baptism so that he could be born again. What do you think of this story? Does Pastor Cheryl deserve to go to jail for this accident? Leave a comment to let me know. I'm Tierka with the T. Follow for more.
What is going on with the church? A UK pastor is now facing serious charges after a baptism ceremony turned deadly. Authorities say 61-year-old Robert Smith, a grandfather of 7, drowned during the ceremony at a private home in Birmingham. The baptism reportedly took place in a small paddling pool and was even being live streamed before it suddenly cut off. Emergency crews rushed to the scene, but sadly, Smith was pronounced dead. A post-mortem later confirmed drowning as the cause. Now, Pastor Cheryl Bartley has been charged with gross negligence manslaughter. Prosecutors say there's enough evidence to move forward with the case. What's also drawing attention, Bartley later claimed she saw Smith dancing with Jesus after his death, a statement that sparked outrage and debate online. Smith, originally from Jamaica, was a barber and devoted family man who leaves behind 7 grandchildren. The pastor is expected to appear in court soon as the investigation continues. If found guilty, the pastor could face up to 18 years in prison. This tragic case is now raising serious questions about safety during religious ceremonies. What do y'all think? Should the pastor get time for this? Leave a comment and follow for updates.
I mean, that was more clips and more people talking about. I couldn't really find a news source on this, but it's definitely real news, and it definitely really happened. Definitely made headlines. I believe it happened in 2023. You know what I'm saying? But this is wild. How do you go make a decision to get yourself saved and get baptized, and then you end up drowning while getting baptized? This was some crazy headlines. You know what I'm saying? Definitely had to cover this. I don't know how this could happen. And then she talk about she's seen him dancing with Jesus. The lady needs to be psycho evaluated, you know what I mean? Because the fact that you are baptizing a man and talking about you seeing him dancing with Jesus, now I don't know if that's the reason that you held him down. I mean, you have to hold somebody underwater, you know what I mean? You got to hold them there to drown them, you know what I'm saying? That's not like a fast act, you know what I mean? This is definitely had to be done on purpose. Couldn't have been done by accident. And I was born and raised going to church. You know what I mean? I've seen baptisms before. You feel me? And not one time do you be sitting under the water. It's like a boom. It's like a dip. You know what I'm saying? Like a in the water, out. You know what I'm saying? The cleanse thing, like a ceremonial type thing. It's like a dip in and you out. Ain't no going under and then you sitting in the water for an amount of time before you come up. That shouldn't even take place. I mean, if the lady had a ministry services, you know what I'm saying? She clearly have done this before. I don't know what it was with the guy, you know what I'm saying, with the 61-year-old man. I don't know what she had against him. I don't know if it was something that she couldn't wait to get to him, like this was an opportunity to take him out the game. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But it's just so mysterious how you baptize someone and then end up drowning that person. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's beyond me, you know. Yeah, so she facing charges with negligence and manslaughter and all kind of stuff, you know what I mean? I just thought it was weird. I mean, had to be intentional. I don't see this being an accident, you know what I mean? If you're going to baptize someone, you literally hold them the whole time and dip their body in the water and then bring it up. It's just 2 seconds, you know what I mean? So the fact that you were held underwater until you drowned and lost your life, that was definitely a murder. That was definitely something intentional to me, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Don't you?
Yo, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? It's Kons Podcast interrupting this episode. You feel me? For you to hit that subscribe button if you ain't. You know what I mean? Hit that subscribe button if you ain't. Hit it already. You know what I'm saying? Go on and do that right now if you ain't. Tell your friends to hit that too. You know what I'm saying? Tell your friends to hit the subscribe button. Tell your cousins to hit the subscribe button. Tell your grandma. Tell your nieces. Tell your nephews. Tell everybody. Hit that subscribe button. You feel me? But yeah, that's all I wanted to say in the middle of the episode. Let's get right back to the episode.
You hate me, don't you?
Kadisha Land dropped some new stuff on this David case. You know what I mean? This case is surprisingly still ongoing. You know what I mean? David was apparently Celeste was not the only young girl that David was messing with. Apparently, he was messing around with this other young girl who was also believed to be underage while he was messing with Celeste Rivas, the girl who was found in the front of his Tesla, cut up and bodied. You know what I'm saying? Apparently, he was messing with another little girl. She had sent text messages and pictures of them together romantically, and some other disturbing things that she decided to come out and say, and sent all of this information over to the lawyers. Steve Fisher, you know what I mean? A photo of him and this little girl had came out, I guess, months ago, that Kadisha said in this clip, you know what I mean? But this next clip is just Kadisha Land covering this new info on this David case. Check it out.
Don't you mean David was with another young girl at the same time that he was with Celeste Rivas Hernandez? All of this is just coming out, and this girl is not of age, and she gave all of her photos, text messages, and her own statements to the police that she was in a relationship with David. This young girl gave all of this information to Steve Fisher, the private investigator who has been looking into David and what happened to Celeste Rivas Hernandez before going to police, and they were able to find out that David was going back and forth between this girl and Celeste Rivas Hernandez at a different location on the same exact day, the day that she ran away for the very first time. And the day that this was all happening was on Valentine's Day, and Steve Fisher said there are tons of photos of these two romantically with one another, that there's no question about that. And the way that they are describing one of these photos of this girl and David in his home taking a photo in the mirror, I can assume that this is probably the photo that was released a couple months ago. Take a peep real quick at the background and all of the photos on the wall, because yes, there's no questions that that photo was in David's home because he took tons of photos in this mirror. This just gets under my skin so bad. The fact that this man was with Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who was not of age and then found in the front of his Tesla, was with another girl that was not of age at the same exact time and was going to visit them at different locations. This is actually infuriating. The fact that we have heard nothing else about David when it comes to Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and he's never been picked up, and then the fact that we have this other young girl confirming that she was also in a relationship with David, giving police all of this information, and they didn't even move on that yet. And the way that they are talking about this situation with this other young girl, it it seems like they might not even be interested in going after David for those type of crimes. I really want to know what this whole grown-ass man was thinking at this point, going back and forth between both of these young girls, and then one of those young girls being found in the trunk of your Tesla. Insane. But y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
You know what I mean? That was Khadijah Lynn letting you know further information that he was messing around with two young girls at the same time. This dude is proven to be most sick as more info comes out. I don't know why this is taking so long. This has been ongoing of just, meanwhile, what is he doing? Free, touring the world, singing on shows, making hundreds of thousands of dollars while he's being currently investigated for a whole murder of a little young girl that was cut up and put in his trunk. You know what I mean? The front of his car. You know what I mean? I don't know. This case is just ongoing. I think it is just taking way too long. I think that us as the people is seeing all of the evidence stacked up against this dude, and we're wondering why is he not charged? Why they ain't slapped handcuffs on him yet? I don't get it. You know what I mean? We have all the evidence in the world that says you did this. You know what I mean? You were definitely tied to the little girl. He was definitely involved with her. I guess there's just no motive as to why you would just cut her up, and you know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But dude is definitely on some psychotic stuff. You know what I mean? I think this case is definitely being dragged out though a little too long. This is like finna be hit a year. You know what I mean? Or some change. So it's too long of a case to be dragged out. You know what I mean? I'm sure Celeste Reeves' parents and her family is just searching and wanting answers. You know what I'm saying? And this is just taking entirely too long, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Especially with all of the evidence that we have seen. That's just pointing to the fact that, I mean, all the evidence is saying that you did it. I mean, even down to the point of you being found covered on last few episodes ago that he had a whole incinerator in his house, in some house, that abandoned house that he was out at that remote location or whatnot, where Celeste was supposed to last be seen with him. The fact you had an incinerator, I mean, it's just questions like, why? What are you doing with that? You know what I mean? I don't know. Was he planning to burn her up? Was he planning to get rid of the evidence and incinerate everything, turn everything into ashes? You know what I'm saying? We don't know, but it is just highly questionable. As you not a farm dude, you don't have a farm. I don't know why you would have a incinerator, why you purchased that and had it in the box just sitting in the house at this remote location. You know what I mean? I don't know. It all seems fishy. It all been seeming fishy to me. The fact that it's taken this long to convict him is fishy to me as well. I don't know who this dude is tied to. Maybe he tied with some higher up. Maybe he did some favors for some higher ups. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't want to speculate. It's an ongoing case. I ain't trying to have this podcast be brought up in no court cases tied to this David dude. You know what I mean? So I ain't speculating too much. I'm just saying what's already out there, what I feel. You know what I mean? But yeah, I feel like it's dragging on too long. They should have been convinced, dude. Diddy is trying to appeal and get out of the jail. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to appeal and send his sentence, trying to get released early. The argument is saying that the charges was too harsh and that nobody was ever sentenced that much time under the charges that he got hit with. It was several charges that was dropped. He also brought up and saying the judge shouldn't have considered evidence previous relationships that he abused and threatened previous girlfriends. Also, they were saying that he was trying to put out there that he was doing amateur porn. You know what I'm saying? As to the evidence and all the videos that was seen, I guess he was trying to say he was filming amateur porn. You know what I mean? I guess he trying to use that as an argument to try to get free early, saying that the 50 months and the 2 whatever that he got sentenced to was a little too harsh for what he got charged with, being that there was so many charges that were dismissed. You know what I'm saying? So the next clips you're gonna hear more on this from different news sources that talked about this. Check it out.
Kons is pushing to have his prison term cut short. The rap mogul's lawyers took his case to a federal appeals court in New York on Thursday. They say his sentence for a sex-related conviction was too harsh.
Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers argue a judge wrongfully sentenced their client by considering more serious charges than what he was actually convicted of. They also say it is the most prison time ever given someone convicted of the same charges with a similar criminal history. Now, one of the prosecutors in this case insists that Combs' 4-year, 2-month prison term is below federal sentencing guidelines and in line with similar convictions. Last summer, as many of you remember, a jury cleared Combs of sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy charges. The rapper was convicted of lesser prostitution-related offenses. He had pleaded not guilty to all charges and denied wrongdoing. He's scheduled for release in April of 2028. Nate, this should be interesting. It could take a couple of months before there's a decision. One of the judges in that appeals court saying that this was an exceptionally difficult case.
Hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs is appealing his conviction and sentence on prostitution-related charges. His lawyers are arguing the 4-year and 2-month prison term is too harsh. They also maintain the judge should not have considered evidence that Combs abused and threatened former girlfriends. At his trial last year, Combs was acquitted of the more serious sex trafficking charge. He is currently set to be released from prison in April 2028.
Current news sources, CBS and Sky News, I think was one of them. Some other news source that was reporting on that. The next clip you're going to see is Khadisha Lynn. This is what she had to say on Diddy trying to make this appeal and get out of jail early. Check it out.
Diddy's team argued for his appeal, and this is something that we have known for months now. But there are a lot of rumors going around that he might be out today, and I necessarily don't think that's the case. And yes, I listened to the whole appeal court proceedings, and it seems like the judges reserved their decision because this is a difficult argument coming from Diddy's side and the government. Diddy's team in their appeal briefings have argued that Diddy was the maker of amateur adult films, but the main thing that they were arguing during this appeal court session was the fact that they believed that Diddy was sentenced too long based on what he was charged with. Their main arguments that they were making is that they believe that the judge sentenced Diddy on acquitted conduct. And let's rewind back to sentencing. So the judge sentenced Diddy longer than most people would sit for the Mann Act charges based off guideline ranges because he said there was clear violence and coercion shown throughout trial. This is a big thing being brought up, is the fact that when the judge was sentencing Diddy, saying I saw violence and coercion shown multiple times throughout trial, and that's why you're getting a higher sentence based off the ranges, he did say each time, I am not giving this sentence based off acquitted charges. And Diddy's argument is, oh yeah, you're sentencing me based on coercion, you said coercion, and I was found not guilty of trafficking. The reason he's saying that is because to be found guilty of trafficking, there has to be force, fraud, or coercion. This is why Diddy's team is arguing that they believe that the judge sentenced him on acquitted conduct. And the government was basically arguing, no, the judge didn't sentence Diddy on acquitted conduct. They sentenced him on conduct that was shown throughout the trial that had nothing to do with the acquitted conduct, and the judge made that very clear in his final determination when sentencing Diddy. Now, there are a lot of legalities that were going on through this whole entire court proceeding because there are new rules that talk about not being able to sentence someone based on acquitted conduct. So basically, this is what the judges are trying to cipher through. They are trying to see if it was in fact acquitted conduct that the judge was using in his determinations or if it wasn't. And like the judges made very clear, this is a difficult case with a lot of information. They were kind of grilling Diddy's team, but at the same time, they were also grilling the government on a few different things. So no, I definitely don't think that these judges are going to have a decision today about everything that they've heard in Diddy's case. Another big thing that's been being talked about with Diddy that I really don't talk about it because I've talked about it already in the past is the fact that his out date keeps getting moved up, so he's essentially getting out earlier than what he was sentenced. And this is not surprising, guys. This is something that we've already talked about. This is something that we've already known because Diddy was approved to do the RDAP program. So currently, Diddy's out date is April 2028 if he does not have a successful appeal. Mind you, that's only a little bit of time shaved off. He could get even more time shaved off of his sentence because of this RDAP program. He could actually get a whole year if he successfully completes this program off of his sentence. This is why we keep seeing the time shaved off of his sentence little by little. If Diddy actually successfully completes this program, it is possible that this man could be out in 2027, and that is not a shock at all. But as of for now, I don't think that Diddy is going to be free tonight. We literally don't know what these judges are going to determine, and their decisions usually take a while. And I'll update you when they finally do have their decision, if Diddy is going to get out immediately or if he's going to be staying in jail for the remainder of his sentence. But y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
Deisha Lynn letting you know her information and what she got on Diddy trying to get out of jail early. Harvey from TMZ had also put a little tidbit on his 2 cents and what he had to say on Diddy wanting to be released early. This is Harvey from TMZ and what he had to say on Diddy wanting to be let out of jail. Check it out.
So that's one argument. And I gotta say, it is an interesting argument. The prosecutors are saying it's meritless, but I wouldn't be so quick to judge it that way. So we don't know what the prosecution is going to say beyond that in court. But these judges, as I'm recording right now, the judges are hearing these arguments. The second thing they're arguing is that the sentence was totally out of whack, that Diddy got 50 months for violating the Mann Act. And typically, for Mann Act prosecutions, the average is around 15 months. And what the defense is saying is that the trial judge in this case considered all sorts of evidence that he shouldn't have. That the judge, even though Diddy was acquitted of racketeering and sex trafficking, and there was a lot of evidence presented about coercion and force, and the Cassie video was introduced into evidence. The defense is saying none of that should be considered because the Mann Act has nothing to do with that. But they're saying the judge's sentence was colored by all of those things, and the judge threw the book at Diddy when the judge should have just looked at the Mann Act violation and then sentenced appropriately. They're saying the appropriate sentence should have been around 15 months. Well, guess what? Diddy has already served 19 months. So, if either of those arguments fly, if the appellate court believes that this is constitutionally protected porn, or if the appellate court believes that the sentence was out of whack and 15 months is more appropriate, either one of those, Diddy is a free man. So the oral argument, as I said, is going on right now. Typically, and I'm sure it's going to happen in this case, the judges are not going to rule from the bench. That just never happens. So they will meet and confer, as they say, and write an opinion. But sooner rather than later, if the appellate court buys what Diddy is trying to sell, he could be a free man relatively soon.
You see, you know what I'm saying? That was Harvey letting me know, you know what I mean? Telling you that, you know what I'm saying? He looking to see that it was telling them it was amateur porn and this and that. Man, I don't know what's up with this Diddy case. I mean, he asking to get out early. I don't know if he gonna get granted that. They gonna look at time served and arguments and all this and that. But man, I think he should just take that on the chin and just take it. Like, I think the more you fight for this, the worse are you making yourself be at the end of the day if they don't grant whatever it is that you are fighting for. You know what I'm saying? That you notioning for. You know what I mean? I think it's just making it look worse on you the more they have to say no to you. You know what I mean? I think definitely you should take this on the chin and just thug out them 50 months. You know what I'm saying? Because it could have been way worse. They could have dropped the gavel on you and gave you 50 years. You know what I'm saying? With all of the charges that was brought against you. You know what I'm saying? They could have gave you a whole bunch of time. You know what I'm saying? You could have got some football numbers. You know what I mean? You could have got some cocaine numbers for all the charges that was against you. You know what I mean? So I think you should take that 50 months and just thug that out. You know what I'm saying? And be humble about that. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, he's saying that it's the most harsh sentence that was ever given to anybody sentenced with what they charged him with. It may be true, but now, I mean, considering everything that was against you, all these other charges from other women, everybody that was coming forward, like, you don't know, it was a lot at the end of the day, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, in my opinion, you should just take that 50 months on the chin and thug it out, you know what I'm saying? Because I think that's still a win at the end of the day. With everything you was facing, I think 50 months is a win for you, and I think you should probably be humble about that, you know what I'm saying, in my opinion, you feel me? But yeah, though, you know what I'm saying, that's all I got for today, though, episode 378. Another mean episode 378. You feel me? About this time is where I go over, give you a little recap. You know what I mean? In case you might have rolled up, in case you might have pulled up, in case the drink was a little too potent for you, in case the tree you rolled up was a little too potent for you, got a little too high, or maybe you heard kids upstairs arguing over Roblox or Minecraft. They was fighting over a controller. You had to step away from the podcast to go see what was going on. In case you did, I just let you know that a pastor out in Birmingham in the UK was charged with drowning, baptizing a man that was 61 years old in a kiddie pool in the backyard of a home. She drowned him during the baptism. Kadisha Lynn let you know about some new information. I let you know and showed you some new information on this David case, how he was messing around with two young girls, not just Celeste Rivas. Also let you know that Diddy is appealing his sentence, trying to get released from his jail sentence early, saying that it was too harsh of a sentence for somebody to be charged with what he got charged with. He said it was too harsh of a sentence. That's everything I let you know today. This was episode 378. Thank all you for tuning in, because we all know you could have been doing anything that you wanted to do, no matter who you was. You know what I'm saying? Whether you was a little brother or a little sister, whether you was the older brother or older sister, a niece or nephew, whether you was an auntie or uncle, whether you was a mother or father or grandpa or grandma, you know what I'm saying? Whether you was cousin Pookie, cousin Pete, cousin Man, you know what I mean? And if you got pets that's sitting there and your pet is right along with you watching it, whether your pet is a pet cat, a pet dog, you have a pet hyena, a pet giraffe, you have a pet ant farm, a pet bearded dragon, a pet hedgehog, a pet squirrel, whoever your pet is, if they got eyes on Kons Podcast, I have to give them a good salute. Like you see the homies scrolling up that screen. You know what I mean? Giving you that good salute for watching, you know what I mean? But thank all y'all for tuning in. Thank all y'all for watching. The beat you hear creeping up was made by none other than Amazing Beats. You feel me? The beat that's creeping up in the background, you know what I mean? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Let me know what y'all think about these topics that you're about to see in the comments. And I'll see y'all next episode.
Young girl at the same time that he was with Celeste Rivas Hernandez. All of this is just coming out, and this girl is not of age, and she gave all of her photos, text messages, and her own statements to the police that she was in.
Hip-hop mogul Diddy Kons is appealing his conviction sentence on prostitution-related charges. His lawyers are arguing the 4-year and 2-month prison term is too harsh. They also maintain the judge should not have considered evidence.
They arrested the pastor, charging her with...
Wait me, don't you?